Hi, Ravi Ranjan Tiwari. Today I am going to teach Unit 3rd, two stories about flying. The second story, Black Aeroplane, for class 10th. In previous classes, I have already taught you about the first story, his first flight. Through this, through the first story, writer wanted to describe about the courage of first flight, how the young seagull jumped over his frightened. In the second part of this unit, Black Aeroplane, this extract written by Frederick Forrest. Frederick Forrest was a great writer, great English writer. Through this story, he wanted to describe about the black aeroplane, and in this aeroplane, in this chapter, we also try to find out how a person jumps over the fear. First, I want to read out the extract, so please listen carefully. The moon was coming up in the east behind me, and stars were shining in the clear sky above me. There wasn't a cloud in the sky. I was happy to be alone, high up above the sleeping countryside. I was flying my old Dakota aeroplane over France back to England. I was dreaming of my holiday and looking forward to being with my family. I looked at my watch, 1:30 in the morning. In the first paragraph, writer wanted to describe about his first flight, his flight to England. The moon was coming up in the east. Through these lines, writer described about the atmosphere, about the period of his flying. The moon was coming up in the east behind me. The stars were shining in the clear sky above me. Writer described here the moon was coming up in the east and behind me, and the stars were shining in the clear sky above me. There wasn't a cloud in the sky, means that atmosphere was very clear for flying. I was happy to alone, high up above the sleeping countryside. The scene is in night, then writer flying to England, France to England, and he found the whole countryside were sleeping very fast. I was flying my old Dakota aeroplane over France back to England. My flight is over France, and I come back to England. My old Dakota aeroplane. I was dreaming of my holiday and looking forward to being with my family. I was dreaming for my holiday. It was the time of my holiday, and I wanted to go England to meet family members or the children. And I was very happy that time. I looked at my watch 1:30 in the morning. When I see my watch and I found 1:30 in the morning. I should call Paris control room soon, I thought as I looked down past the nose of the aeroplane. I saw the light of a big city in front of me. I switched on the radio and said Paris control, Dakota DS00088 here. Can you hear me? I am on my way to England over. It is the protocol of a pilot to confirm his route from the nearest airport. So, I means the pilot means writer call Paris control room about the position of his old Dakota. He switched on the radio and asked to Paris control room, Dakota DS00 here. Can you hear me? I am on my way to England over. And he informed control room, in the present time, I am on my way to England over the France. The voice from the radio answered me immediately. DS088, I can hear you. You have to turn 12 degree west now. DS088 over. And when the reply came from the control room, the pilot was confused for his route, so he tried to know about the rear route. So he connect himself to the control room, and control room answered very satisfactory, and control room said to him, I can hear you, and you ought to turn 12 degree west now, DS088 over. I checked the map and the compasses, switched over to my second and last fuel tank, and turned the Dakota 12 degree west towards England. I checked my map and compass and switched over my second and the last fuel tank. And I turned Dakota 12 degree west towards England. I shall be in time for breakfast, I thought, and I thought my arrival to England. I was very clear to reach England before the breakfast. A good big English breakfast, everything was going well. It was the easy flight. The flight was very easy, and the pilot or the writer was very happy for his flight, and he was very concerned himself to reach England at the time before the breakfast. Paris was about 150 kilometers behind me when I saw the clouds, and the writer described here when I was in a sky and Paris was 150 kilometers behind me. In that time, I saw a cloud in the sky, a storm cloud. That was not a simple cloud, that was the storm cloud. They were huge. They looked like black mountains standing in front of me across the sky. And the pilot or the writer found himself that storm cloud was very big and very black, and black mountain, and that cloud standing in front of my plane like a black mountain, and across the sky. It was really a very fearful moment come in my life. And that time I was very much frustrated to saw the black mountains in front of me. And I knew I could not fly up and over them. And I knew the situation is not fruitful to me, so it is very difficult to me how I fly forward. And I did not have enough fuel to fly around them to the north to south. And uh, the fuel is limited, so it is very difficult to me how I fly north to south. I ought to go back to Paris, I thought, but I wanted to get home. I wanted the breakfast. One thought came in my mind, and I thought it was better to me to back to Paris, but I thought to wanted to go to get home, and I wanted the breakfast in England, and I take the risk, so I will take the risk. And I thought and flew, and that old Dakota straight into the storm. And I decided to flew straight to the storm. It is a very risky flight. Inside the cloud, everything was suddenly black. When I entered into the cloud, and I found everything was suddenly became very black, and it was impossible to see anything outside the aeroplane. It was really a very serious flight of me, and the old aeroplane jumped and twisted in the air. My aeroplane was not in control. My old aeroplane jumped and twisted in the air. I looked at the compass, and I could not believe my eyes. The compass was turning round and round and round. It was dead, and it would not work. The other instruments were suddenly dead too. I tried the radio. In that time, due to a strong storm, like a black mountain clouds in front of me, and I take a risk to fly forward in the cloud, and I found myself or the old Dakota in the cloud, and the whole atmosphere became very black. And in that time, my old Dakota twisted and jumped into the cloud. So it is very difficult to me to control my plane. So I wanted to consult the control room. So I watched my compass or the radio, but I found my instruments were suddenly dead, and I tried the radio, and radio was also dead in that time. So this time is very crucial for me, how I come from this fear, how I trump over the fear. And the Paris control, can you hear my? And I asked about the Paris control, and I requested again, can you hear my? Had no radio, no compass, and I could not see where I was. It is very difficult to me in the vast sky to search myself. I was in a sky, I was in black cloud, and I was not able to connect myself to the any control room. So this situation is very dangerous for me, and how I come over this fear. So I requested to the students to read out this extract very attentively, and then you find a very so many questions in your mind, and I suggested you to go through the text. Today I want to stop my lecture. Thanks.